Alright fellas, it's Sunday, fun day. Don't know if I'll be able to do anything next week for as long as video's happening, but did get something done today. So, as always, like, share, and subscribe, please. And let's take a look at the new wheels on the 41. Full sex spec. You're gonna love this. I love them. Love them. 20 by 10s, 20 by 8s. Full sex spec, baby. Look at that. Ooh, changed the whole car. I mean, changed the whole car. Amazing. They look spectacular. Changed the whole look, I swear. Love it. But they're Riddlers. These are the ones off the Caprice. I'm a little heartbroken, not because they're not on the Caprice, but because these have been in the weather for a year and they're already pitted. Chrome, it's a nightmare, but they need washed and everything. So now that that's done, I'm going to start working on pulling this door panel off and building my radio box in the glove box. Try to get that done today. Tomorrow I'm going to have it inspected, so that way I can get the title transferred, tagged and insured, and I can start deriving this bad boy here and there. But yeah, I think if anything, what needs to happen here would be that front might need to come down a little, just a little, or this back needs to come up just a little, one or the other. Because right now it seems to sort of be, well, I mean, it's facing downhill, it's on a hill, so I need to get it somewhere flat and take a good look at it. But right now it's sexy as it can be. I would actually, like, you know, even the pinstripe looks nice on it with them wheels and everything. So hot. So what I'm currently working on is building the glove box slash stereo holder. It's a pretty big piece. It's got to be 16 1/8 by 8 3/4 piece of steel. But I mean, I've got to do 3-inch bends, and it's 10 1/8 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it to where it just slips behind here on both sides, and that's where I'm going to mount the actual box. Now the top's just going to hang. Well, no, you know what? There's a hole there. There's a hole there. I'll probably mount the top too. So everything will get mounted. The bottom probably won't, because, yeah, there's nothing there. It'll just sit there, which is no big deal. And I'll get it all bent up. I'll cut this angle, or I'll bend this angle like that 45, and then I'll bend my 3-inch. Then I'll cut it off, you know, where 3 inches straight. And yeah, that'll go in here, click in. Then I'll have to, after it's bent and everything, cut my stereo hole, which is 7 by 4, which is huge. But it's literally going to be the entire left side, and there's just going to be nothing here. But I was thinking, you know, if later on I need to put any kind of hidden switch for any odd reason, I have no clue. Maybe interior lights or something. I don't know. I'll put them in there or something like that, you know. Who knows? But they'll go in there next to the radio. I'm hoping some of this wiring down here, because this is a newer style, like hot rod harness, and I'm hoping one of these is actually a radio 12 volt and a radio accessory, and I'll be golden then, because I don't want to run, you know, a hot in the ground and everything like that from some random spot. But who knows what they have hooked it to, because it's also got this heater box, which actually works, and it's factory. The fan works on it, and it's hooked to a toggle, which I don't like either. As I said, if I can find out who makes the AC pump that's on here, I'll get the lines and everything and get an under dash unit that'll probably go like under the radio right here, and that'll be heat and air. Or at that point, I'll take this out, like the whole mechanism, because what's the point in it then? And I'll put heat and air in there. Yes, this is my buddy Gizmo. He loves cars. He's been all over here today playing with me. But, yep, he's on his way to go do whatever he does. I'm going to put all this stuff back on until I get my gauges and my paint done and everything like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't really paying attention when I ordered them gauges. They're coming from China. I messaged the guy. He's like, oh, we'll put them on a speed pack. I actually lowballed him too when I bought them, so he's being super helpful. If they get here fast and they look as good as they do in the picture and everything comes and looks right and works right, I will definitely be sharing that with you guys to where you can order them from this dude. He seems pretty cool, so yeah, if he's cool, then we'll get him some business. But that's all there is to that. Yeah, so let's work on this. I want to get my stereo in today, hopefully. And, I'll have to try to figure out some crazy setup to do door speakers because there ain't any. Oh my God, this is perfect. That's a perfect spot for a tweeter. I think that would be, let me see here. That comes down about an inch. That'd be right here. That'd be about in this area, which would be perfect for a tweeter. Awesome. Then components would be killer in there. Then I ain't got to cut a hole in here. I can just actually add it to the door panel itself and be done with that. I wish there was another square spot because of the crossover. I don't want to put it in the door because they are notoriously leakers, and I don't want it outside of the door. The only other option there would be to mount it up in here and then just run 2 sets of speaker wires, one to tweeter, one to the actual speaker. But we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm going to get this done, jam it out. Well, after several tries of getting my brain to function right, I finally got my lines on there. I had to erase a bunch because I was like, no, that's not right. But I am seeing, I actually didn't make it wide enough. I actually made it 3-inch instead of 6. I made the sides 6, so they're right. Just the top's not right. So the tops might not bolt to anything. It might just be sides, which will be fine. But I've got to cut these corners off to make it foldable. And then after I get everything straight, I will make my mark for my head unit in there. But it's giving me a problem right now. Brain's not functioning well. It's functioning well, but it's, it's how it is. Brain fart. But, yes, we are about to there, ready to finish cutting this, and then bend it. Then we'll cut the back side of this piece out for the radio, which you got to get pretty precise so that way it actually will, lock in there good. It's a heavy radio, so. Alright, so I about have my stereo install kit made. This is the box. Everything goes in there. But I had to make some brackets here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tack weld these on with the radio in there. So it's going to be dangerous, but yeah. Hopefully I don't mess up this radio. But I was thinking, hey, I can just leave them because it's putting pressure. But if this face or this clip right here ever pops off, the radio is just going to fall out. So I'm going to have to tack weld it. But that's basically the whole gist of it there. I'm going to tack weld them, pull it off, wipe it down, hit it with some quick primer. I might not even prime it. I might just hit it with flat black, and it'll be done. Then I can just give it a little bit to dry. I'll probably torch heat it actually, and then hit it with the primer or the paint, and then it'll be done. So no big deal, but that's how I usually make my stereo kits for the classics. This one's got a doubled in, of course, but it'll be sweet in there. Let's get that tacked and heated and painted. Alright, it's Tuesday now. Just been trying to get everything done. There's too much going on. But we're going to work on the Studebaker for this week. We're going to try to knock it out. I have a list right here I have 15 things left to do on it before this thing is done. So it's not going to be that hard. But some of the more daunting tasks are stuff like I need to put a U-joint in the new drive shaft and put it in. Just daunting because I got to crawl under the car. Kind of. Steering column. Wiring harness. The harness isn't exactly a harness. It's just plugging stuff back in and then making it look pretty under the dash. I know, weird word, pretty. But yeah, got to do that. Another big one is the power steering. Or not power steering, but the radiator hoses, the trans lines, and the steering. That's basically all the hard stuff that I got to do today. If I can knock them out today, it's going to get real easy. Because the real big stuff, like the stuff that I'm just going to wait till the last second to tackle because I don't want to, is going to be the gauges, which we don't have yet. We got to we got to mount the running boards, which means I got to weld the running board supports on and then try to mount the running boards. Bleeding the brakes don't take no time. Hood cable will be pretty easy. I'm going to try to knock it out today too. Headlights, tail lights are just like a monotonous process of sitting there figuring out power, ground, and high beam, low beam. It's just got to figure all that stuff out. Wire it up, solder it, shrink it. That's just time consuming. So that's no big deal. But the hard stuff is the rear inner fenders. I got to, finish them with the pieces that I cut off of the bed. The gauges, again, don't have yet. The running boards, welding them to the frame. It's just a time-consuming, nasty task. Everything else is pretty easy. So, yeah, I'm going to try to nail out 4 or 5 things today off the 15-page list. And by the end of the week, this baby might be out of here and I might be getting paid. But, yeah, we'll see. I got to make a store run, of course, because I got to get a U-joint, which I hope they have because it's slightly off. Transline fittings, transline hose. Now that I say transline hose, I just cut a piece yesterday. I might have enough for that. So we'll check that first. What else was there? I gotta get some stuff for the 41, which ain't no big deal. Yeah, so I ain't got much stuff left to get. I'll have to get stuff and he reimbursed me on it. So I'll have to get stuff like trans fluid that we might need. We're probably going to need because it spilled all out of there when I had it jacked up. Radiator fluid. That's about it, really. Not much stuff he's still got to get. But, he's going to pay for, like, the U-joint, the fittings. If I have to get transline, I don't think I will, but if I had to, yeah. But other than that, we're about to start nailing this sucker out. Got to get it running. Driving, steering, out of here. Hopefully, I'm building this on a gravel floor. It's not level, but I tried to level it as best as I could. So hopefully, when I pull it outside and get it on flat top, it's not like, crooky. That's why I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't refuse what he was offering, and he really wanted me to do it. So, anywho, let's rocko this out of here. Get busy. Alright, I replaced the back U-joint only to realize that the front one is shot too. So, back to O'Reilly's to get another U-joint. Lovely, lovely. I need an upper radiator hose clamp also. You know what, before I go, look down here at this bottom radiator hose. See what kind of clamp it's got on it. Okay, is it a squeeze clamp on top? I cannot tell. No clamp at all on the top. Okay, that answers that question. No clamp at all. Way down there. Before I go, I'm also going to see if that fits, and I'll get one while I'm there. So, the list, I was like, I'll get that done today. I mean, it's still early. It's almost 5, but I got all night. So far, drive shaft's pretty much done, and the upper radiator hose is done. So I got to do the lower. Oh, you know what? Let's test these fittings too for the lower, for the trans lines, not the lower trans lines, the trans lines. Like normal, everything is out right now, but these are the fittings they had. I'll test them to see if they fit. If they do, then I'll be golden there. If they don't, I'll try to find another fitting. I had the little caps that came out of it sitting somewhere, and they are gone. But I was going to take them to test fit. Oh, you know what? They're in my right pocket. They're plastic, so I didn't remember. Yep. Skadoosh. To little nipple things. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'm sort of messing with this thing right here. That one. Set down. Catch this one. Alright. Appears to be the same. So, still going to put them on, check them first. Before I go, this was kind of tough to find, but this is a 534G. Focus. 534G, which means it's got all the clips on the inside, which is the same way the front one's going to have to be, because it's them crappy heat plastic squeezed in crap. But anywho, let's test fit these, try that lower radiator hose, and run to the parts store if none of it fits. So I went and got another U-joint, got the lower radiator hose, got the upper radiator hose earlier. It's pretty much on. Yeah, there's the lower. The radiator on this actually has a bigger outlet on both sides, inner and outer outlet, you know, inlet and outlet. Use your big guy words, okay? But got the hose clamps for those. We'll hammer them out. But first, I'm going to do this one because this has the most bestest U-joints. These have the plastic injected U-joints. That's never been changed. So, we're going to torch the crap out of them. Beat the crap out of them. Get them out of there. Fun. Alright fellas, 9 o'clock. I've got my butt handed to me today. But the exhaust is on. The drive shaft is in with both front and rear new U-joints. The upper radiator hose, lower radiator hose, and trans lines done. I actually even hooked up the AC. One second, let me get you some light on the subject. Oh, anvils for my... Get off there, gosh. This magnet on this light from Harbor Freight is ridiculous how good it is. Alright, anyway, lower rad trans lines done. Even hooked up the two AC lines. They're not tight yet. I'm gonna have to sneak a wrench down in there, but those are done, so I'm done for tonight. I didn't get any of, well, I got 3 things off my list: drive shaft, red hose, and trans line. That's it. Didn't get any steering done, didn't get a hood cable, didn't get the harness done. So yeah, our harness is just literally plugging crap in and making it look nice. But I started at 11 today. It's 9. I'm done. Tomorrow we'll jump back in on it. We'll start with this harness. We'll get it all halfway decent straight. This is what I'm talking about. That. It's a mess. There's actually even a junction box that I need to mount to the firewall. There's a bolt on the firewall I need to remove, and I just haven't had time to get to it yet. But tomorrow, harness, steering, and then we'll start doing the dash harness, hood cable. We need to get a hold of Jeff and get a battery, because that battery's shot. It didn't have a charge when it was here. I think he even said that it came from a junkyard. But that battery needs replaced, and we need to get battery cables and everything, probably to run it into the bed. It'd definitely be on the passenger side somewhere, probably about in that area. And I'll have to probably get more angle iron. I don't know if I got enough to build it or not. I might have it in the smaller stuff, but I have to make a battery box, run power cables back to here. And yeah, well, actually ground gets bolted to the frame up there and the frame back here, and then you just run long power wire. And that's it. So I have to get power wire, I have to get some lugs, have to get all that stuff. I need to write that down on the board. But as for today, I'm shot. Let's close it up for tonight, and I'll see you in the morrow. Today we're gonna start working on this wiring mess. Since I got all that other stuff done yesterday, I want to hit this and the steering today. Hopefully knock them out. Be pretty close to done with everything that, you know, needs major sort of work. But this is a mess. I've got to do the junction box. I got to find somewhere to mount it, which will probably be the firewall, of course. But I have to figure out what is unhooked, where it goes, and where I can tuck it to make it look halfway decent. That's fun. The other thing is, I know the inside heat element on the blower needs to go to the firewall. Need to hook it up. And the steering column has a full another harness and computer over there underneath that insulation that goes up into the dash. So there's a lot of wiring, which is my nightmare. I'm probably not going to pick through it. I'm probably just going to tuck it up in there and hide it as best as possible in the dash. As far as gauges go, he did not want to use those. We will not be using the factory ones because it's impossible. So he's probably just going to get a 3 gauge set and put in there and be done with it. But yeah, still a lot of hiding to do. I have to mount both computers. I think there's 2 computers. Yeah, 2 computers, which one I believe is just an airbag computer, so we might not even hook it up. The column shouldn't be too hard. I think I need to cut these off. The ears, because I won't be using those. I use a U-bolt that goes up, you know, we bolt it on the column, and then drill 2 holes in the bottom of the dash down here, which there's already holes there, so if they fit, they fit. Try to sort of line it up to where it looks good in the, you know, supposed gauge hole, and go from there. But lots of little stuff. So this is literally the best I could do with this wiring. It is just too many connectors in one spot right here, and it looks bulky. It's not touching the motor. It's sitting right here, and there's nothing you can do with it. That's it. I zip tied it and made it look as nice as I could. Don't worry about all these like empty connectors. That's for everything I took off here. Washer bottles, the ABS module, it had like 5 on it. So, don't need it. There's also like impact sensors and stuff like that. So, you don't need any of that stuff. Not now. But, I do still have to figure out the headlight wiring's down here. Got to cut that end off and rerun it for the temperature switch and stuff like that. That's going to be a nightmare. Because on the 4.3s, the temperature switch is in the back of the head, and it's under all that. Or I come over here and try to get this one off, which is also on the back of the head. Or I tell Potter to see if we can get a probe one for this, because it would be so much easier to install. I don't know yet. I do need to get the heat element over here installed, but right now I'm jumping to the steering column because that was a mess, and I'm pretty much done with that for today. I don't want to mess with any more wiring, but I'm gonna have to. So I'm working on the steering column now. My U-bolt, you can see it right there, ever so slightly, is about 4 inches too short. It's about a 4-inch U-bolt, but it needs to be about 8 inches. It's huge. So I'm going to have to run and get one, because it's my only option, because it needs to be up on there in the U-bolt for me to adjust it in and out to where the column cover that covers all this will be just to the edge of the dash. And that's how I like it. So I'm going to have to run and get a U-bolt. Run, run, run. Made a bit of a boo-boo, and I pulled the steering out too far. So now I got to try to get the shaft back in. I had the column where I wanted it, looking good on there, and of course that was off. Went to turn the wheel and it just spun, so I was like, crap, I knew it. But now I got to try to stuff these two back together and the collapsible shaft, and yeah, put the steering column back in again without pulling it out and screwing up everything I already did. Yay, forwards and backwards, I peed in your pool. But we'll get it. Alright, so I have it basically sitting there, trying to be real gentle and not knock it around. Come on! But that's where the steering column is. It looks like it already shifted a little bit to the left on me, but anyway. Sent pictures to the owner to see if he thought it was good. If it's good to him, then all I do is I weld the bottoms. The bottom here and the right side. And that'll be it, basically. That thing will be in. You can adjust it up and down, whichever way. It could probably still go up a little bit, you know. But I want to get it, you know, to his approval before I continue. It looks pretty dang straight, actually. But I'm gonna wait for his approval on that, and then after his approval, I'll start running this giant mess of wiring that's underneath this mat. And yeah, hopefully we'll have that pretty much wired today. Maybe not. It's getting it's Wednesday. I'm a wrestling fan, so it's Dynamite, and we'll see what happens. But as for now, pretty happy with what I've accomplished today. It's not much, but it's the crappy crap, you know. I got this harness all cleaned up under the hood for the most part. Yeah. I need to tighten these lines before I forget about them. And put this baby on charge and wait for a reply. Well, that's another day down, and you can see why I don't like wiring. Yeah. This is 94, and in 94 in the S10s where it was a Vortec motor, but it was still TBI, they have this giant looped dash harness that just like into itself. It's a nightmare. There's so much crap you don't need. There's relays over here, there's relays over there, there's fuses over here, there's computer over there. It's ridiculous. After 94, the 95s, when it becomes, was it CPI, center port injected, whatever, the Spider? Or was it Spider then? Or was it after? Either way, anywho, it gets simplified and there's one harness. Or if you got a TBI motor, it would have been one harness. 94 is a midway. It's stupid. So, right now I'm fighting with the fact that one wire right here is broke in the brake switch. So I'm going to have to pull the tab, get another tab if I don't have one, push it back in there so I can click into the brake switch. That's the only plug I can find that fits it, so that's the plug for it. It would take you forever to tag all this stuff if you try to do it like that. This is the cluster, which I'm not going to use now. I'll probably put some electrical tape around it or something. Fuse panel will be pretty easy. I'm actually going to put it right on that brake tab right there. No problem. As far as this relay box and the flasher box with the door dinger, I'm not sure yet. I just got to find a spot, any spot. That's what you got to do. Computer I need to put in tomorrow. But as for today, I'm done. It's time for wrestling. So I'm in the 41. I'm basically not doing anything special today. I'm kind of wore out. But I got a little sound deadening I want to put in here. You can hear it's just a big tin can. I mean, back here is going to be even worse. And the top. I'm trying not to hit myself in the face. That's a giant open nothing, you know what I'm saying? So all this is going to get some heat shield products DB armor. I have some left, but I'm probably going to have to get more. But I'm going to start with the doors, work my way back. So door, I'm probably going to do, oh, that one's already covered with some of that bubble stuff. It's got a fender and stuff, so it ain't too bad. I need to make some kick panels for these also, both sides. When I do the back, I should have enough back material left to make 2 kick panels. I mean, it's nothing. So I'm getting ready to hit this with some DB armor. I've got the old stuff from when I did the Caprice, which a lot of that I put in the Caprice is still going to be usable when I swap it. So let's put this stuff in. Well, feeling much better today. Wednesday I got the steerings done. Tuesday I had the radiator hoses and trans lines done. Drive shaft and exhaust was done Tuesday. Yeah, half of the harness, because that was the harness under the hood. Now I'm doing the harness under the dash, so what I'm going to get back to today. And the only big things after that will be running boards and the inner fender, basically. Those will be the hardest part after that. Headlights and taillights, pretty quick. Battery cables, he's ordering a battery cable, so when it gets here, I'll use it. Bleed brakes, no problem. Gauges are a big mystery still. In fact, yeah, okay. Total mystery on gauges. We're trying to figure that out. It could just be the triple gauges as far as, well, it'd be 4, but it's probably going to be 3. Temp, oil, and amps. It'll probably be about the only thing he's getting in here. He wants a fuel gauge, but unless I can find a fuel gauge that'll work with the factory harness, because we can't technically add a fuel gauge to a metal tank. You get what I'm saying? This has the built-in fuel gauge, so we're literally going to have to find something that I can use to take apart the harness for the gauges to make work with this fuel pump. That's the only thing. He was like, do you want to use, he's got another tank, a square tank like we put in the other 47, the blue one, blue green, whatever color it is. But honestly, then I have to extend lines. The tank he's got don't have a spot for fuel injection, so technically you'd have to order another tank. Then, you know, you're going to order another tank to put a fuel pump in, to redo lines, to, you know, by the time you're done, it's a nightmare just to move back here to add one fuel gauge. Honestly, it's ridiculous. So we need to find something, some kind of fuel gauge that'll work from here. And that's it. So, again, I'm going to be doing this again. This stuff sucks. I hate wiring. I have to fix the brake switch. One of the wires pulled out. Right there. Start mounting stuff. There's lots of stuff to mount. What I'm going to do, though, is when we get the battery in it, I want to get a fuel gauge if he has one, and cut it out of here, find a pin out for this harness, and hook it to that fuel gauge and see if the fuel hand will work. Because if it will work, then it'll be gravy. And if it does work also, an electric gauge, an electric analog gauge, I guess how you would say it, I could probably take that harness and connect almost everything back to this like wiring harness, which would be great. So that way I ain't got to pull anything off the motor, because on here the actual temp sensor location is in the back of the head on this side, and as you can see, it's a bit full, a little bit hard to get to. Amps aren't nothing. It comes right off the back of the alternator. No big deal. Temp is the hard one. Oil pressure also hard because it's back there by the distributor. So these are just pain in the A's. You know, this one might have a port. Oh, actually, yeah, right here's the temp port. So we can actually run the temp sensor right here for the water, which won't be too bad. But still, the oil pressure is back there. Suck. So, anywho, let's get back to harnessing this harness for today. Alright, and all day later, headlight switch is in. All the harness is tucked up in there. Here's the fuse panel. Hold on one second. Mushka. Yes, there's the fuse panel. Over here, we got our flashers and door buzzers. All the harness from eye level is completely gone. And over there's your computer. Now, as for up in here, Chihuahua. Yeah, it's a mess. There's so much wiring. If I really wanted to take the time, and the guy definitely wanted it done, I could probably eliminate all of the AC wiring plugs and everything like that that's in that harness, and it'd probably take it down quite a bit. But since you don't want it like that, headlights, wipers should all work. Still have tilt. We're clear on the column. Computer's over there mounted. It's not exactly up out of the way, but it's up out of the way. I still have to cut these wires off. Sorry, these wires off. And yeah, then we can just continue to move on. I got the brake switch wire all fixed, but it's a mess. It's just a mess. I still have the bottom cover to put on this too. I just haven't done it yet. But thankfully, the wiring harness mess is pretty much up and out of the way now. Hopefully it still runs. I might be forgetting something I didn't plug in, but hopefully not. Well, after all that wiring gobbledygook yesterday, I got it done. Ran today to pick up some carriage bolts, some nylocks, some battery cable lugs, some hose clamps, and the heater core hoses. Oh, and brake fluid. To finish out, hopefully, everything I need. I'm about ready to stop buying stuff on here. I'm getting reimbursed for that, but it's still, you know. Anywho, on today's episode of Procrastinating, I'm going to try to get the running boards on. These are the actual mounts, so, you know, they're homemade, that came on the other frame, so we're going to use them. Luckily, one of the plates already knocked off, and this one's just tack welded, but the other two are fully welded, so fun. I'm going to have to grind the fire out of them. This is the mount for the hood latch. It's over there. But, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut these tacks off, knock them free, lay up under here, grind the frame to the spots where I like it. And what I'm saying by the mounts is you'll have to figure out where you think you're going to step the most, which in my case will probably be right here. So one mount will go here, and the other one will go probably about right here. Now, these are free floating. What I mean by that is the other trucks, they will bolt the running boards to the front fenders and to the rear fenders. Well, Studebaker ain't like that. They just float. They're not bolted at all. So, you know, basically all the support is going to be on here. I might bolt the front on these, but that depends on how the shape of the running board is. I know they don't touch back here, so it ain't going to get bolted at all. But up here might, running, or a step, nothing. That's the game, you know, that's how it wants to be done, so that's how it's going to be done. I'm pretty much done with the steering column. No, I'm definitely done. Well, I got to put the bottom cover on the steering column, and everything else in there is pretty much done except for the heater, which I'm going to work on next week or whenever I get another time. I don't know if I'm working here next week or out at Potter's. So headlight switch done, ready to go. Brake switch is fixed. You know, everything I done showed all this the other day, but just reiterating, you know, I don't know what's up this door. Yeah, so let's cut these welds, knock these plates off. I'm definitely keeping these plates. You never know what you need them for. And then we'll lay in, figure out, or well, we already know where we're putting them, but weld them onto the frame, grind it all, and get to do some more welding. I'll show you the setup here in a second. Alright, I have this running board set up the way I like it, which is I put the jack stands under. In this case, it didn't even need the actual stand portion of it, or the actual jack, I don't know what you call that part. But now it's straight with the body. That's how I like it. I get it somewhat level with the front and in the back. Now they might be a little like that inward in the back, but it don't matter because that's how I like it. When you look at it, it looks clean. And you can see what I was saying, how these just float. I might put one bolt in the back there and that'll be it, but this one don't even touch, and it's supposed to have a gap, so that's how it's going to be. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's all the way touching here, it's almost touching there. If you look at the bottom of the truck line, it's the same width, so that's about how it's going to be. Now I have to take and weld the brace on there without hitting any of this. Reach way up in there, hold it at the same time, and weld it. It's not fun. I need a really, really strong corner magnet that will hold stuff like that, but I don't have one, so it is what it is. But it's looking a lot more finished. Putting the running board on it made it look a lot sexier and lower. But yeah, so good. Well, everybody, that's pretty much the end of the video this week. Okay, let's stop with that glare crap. But yeah, just got the running board supports welded on. I'm tired. We're gonna call it for this week. Next week we'll jump on the other side, get it done. If I'm working out here next week, I could be back to Potter's. But yes, running boards, once they're done, I gotta do the wheel wells on the back where I made the tubs. I gotta do the inner wheel wells on those, and the support in the center for the bed. Let me think here. What else has got big that's got to be done? Oh, heat and AC. That's another big one that's got to be done. I might even come out here tomorrow. I don't know. But today, for this week's video, that's it. So, again, if you already haven't, like, share, and subscribe. We got some other stuff coming up, I'm sure, for the 41. Might even go out to Scott's. And he's getting ready to build a Metro milk truck, which I'm going to try to get on. And the only thing else is we're going to be working on more of Potter's stuff. We don't even know, I don't even know what he's got. It changes from day to day. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you come back. Hope you check out some more stuff. But this one's almost done, and we'll be moving on to I don't know what. So we'll figure it out after that. Anyway, peace.